Brain-derived neurotrophic factor, aka BDNF, has been referred to as miracle grow for the brain. Today, I'll be talking about what it is, how it works, and its relationship with, you guessed it, movement and exercise. BDNF is a protein that supports the survival, development, and function of neurons, which are fundamentally important brain cells. It plays an important role in the process of neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to adapt, reorganize itself, and form new connections. When BDNF is produced, it binds to our receptors on our neurons and catalyzes biochemical pathways within our brain. Essentially, the BDNF attaches to its receptor because it's chemically favorable to do so and creates a domino effect of chemical changes. There are several of these channels that produce end results that are beneficial for our brain, and I'm going to go in depth into one real quick and use some annoying jargon for a few sentences just to give you a tangible example. The MAPK/ERK pathway, which stands for mitogen-activated protein kinase/extracellular signal regulated kinase pathway, is an example of a BDNF-dependent channel. Here, the BDNF binds to TRKB, activates RAS, which triggers a kinase cascade involving various proteins, and then enters the nucleus to activate transcription factors like CRAB, which promote the expression of genes involved with neuronal growth, survival, and synaptic plasticity, which all go to improve our brain health. I know that that's annoyingly technical and boring, but it's literally just a chemical cause and effect, the same way that rolling a bowling ball hits pins and sends them rattling into the pit. There are a ton of pathways like this one, and they all start with BDNF binding to the right receptor. My information came from my own knowledge and a paper called Brain-Derived Neurotrophic Factor and Its Clinical Implications by Athena and Das in 2015, if you want to look into that and get even more technical. I do want to note that these pathways do not work in isolation. They converge and interact to ensure that neurons can adapt, survive, and communicate effectively. These signaling cascades initiated by BDNF are highly interwoven networks that together kind of drive the processes critical for brain health, learning, memory, and recovery. All right, cool. So BDNF is great, got it. But why do we care about it? We care about it because the production of BDNF is heavily influenced by lifestyle factors, making it a critical link between physical and mental health, which is what this channel is all about. Exercise induces the expression of BDNF through multiple interconnected mechanisms. This is an example of kind of bottom to top function of the muscle-mind axis, as what we do physically goes to impact our brain's chemical environment. Firstly, exercise increases blood flow to the brain. Since blood is the transportation system of the body and carries nutrients, more blood flow to the brain means more nutrients in the brain to support the expression of BDNF. The bigger the river, the more fish will be in it, probably. I don't know, that might be a bad analogy. Secondly, exercise positively regulates the release of chemical messengers like growth hormone and IGF-1. These molecules being in the brain environment upregulate the expression of BDNF in the brain. Lastly, exercise lowers the level of molecules like corticosteroids, which can inhibit the expression of BDNF. Since there's less of this BDNF inhibitor when we exercise, there is more BDNF altogether. All of these processes are exercise-based and end up with there being more BDNF in the brain, which means more BDNF available to bind to the receptors and kickstart that chain that leads to beneficial outcomes for our mental health. These pathways are all really interconnected, and I hope you can see how these cascades are the basis of how our body works. The BDNF binding to receptors and helping our neurons is a complex cause and effect process, similar to how us exercising is a cause and effect process that releases BDNF in the brain to begin with. In this video, I broke A to B and B to C in separate parts, but I hope you see how dynamic and fluid this kind of biochemical domino effect is. Science proves that our voluntary actions can be that first domino in the chain. So yeah, I know this one was very technical, but the big picture is that we can leverage our muscle-mind axis by taking advantage of intentional movement to increase BDNF in our brains and reap its benefits.